oil, like the Bharat Petroleum Corporation Limited. So in such cases, you can get the placement, because from last 5 years, it has been that GATE score is taken as a criteria for giving the placement to the candidate. So naturally, this is going to help you, the Prerna scheme. Try to focus on the Prerna scheme and try to prepare for the GATE examination. Today's our topic is fuel mechanics, and fluid properties part is being covered. So I will go into the details of the fluid power. So education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Okay, that is Bharat Ratna Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, the missile man of the country, has given us the thought that even though he has created the many missiles for the country and given the program of the complete DRDO and the defense program, and under his supervision, under his guidance, the India has progressed a lot in the defense sector. But at the same time, what he says is that education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world, which means that, okay, education is very important. And nowadays, this is a corona time, and coronavirus outbreak is there in the country. So these are the initiatives of the SBJN College of Engineering. Naturally, they deserve the appreciation that they have started the online classes for the benefit of all you students, so that you should not suffer. So therefore, taking into ahead that I will briefly go through this. What is fluid that you have studied? Differentiate between the solids and the fluids. This is also you have studied. The units and the dimensions, that is fundamental units, derived unit. These parts also you have studied. System of units, that is SI unit, FPS unit.
एक्सक्यूज मी सर,
हाँ सर.
एक्सक्यूज मी सर, सर स्क्रीन ब्लिंक होता है म्हणजे कंटिन्यूअसली सुरू होता है स्क्रीन.
बर, स्क्रीन ब्लिंक होता है, आता पण होता है.
हो हो, आता पण होता है.
बर, परत एकदा हे करू मी.
तुम्ही फुल स्क्रीन केला का सर? फुल स्क्रीन वर शेअर करा.
बर बर बर, आता मी हे ब्रीफिंग याच्यात करतो, मग फुल स्क्रीन स्कॅन करतो.
चालेल, ओके,
झालेलं आहे. सो सिस्टम ऑफ युनिट्स, that is CGS units, FPS units, MKS unit, and the presently which we are following, that is a SI unit, which has 6 basic unit and 2 supplementary unit, and 27 the derived unit. So 6 basic units of SI unit: length, mass, time, temperature, current, luminosity. So these are the derived units: volume, area, velocity, and discharge. Then the different types of fluids, that this part is also covered by some other teacher from your organization. That is ideal fluid, real fluid, Newtonian fluid, non-Newtonian fluid, and ideal plastic fluid. So I will not go into the details of that. Okay. Then the properties of the fluid also, that is mass density, it is being covered. Specific weight also it is being covered. Volume is being covered. Then the specific gravity also it is being covered. Viscosity, which is a very important parameter, I hope that viscosity is also being covered. And the shear stress, that is tau is equal to mu into du by dy. The explanation of the viscosities and the two parts of the viscosity, that is dynamic viscosity and the kinematic viscosity, it is also being covered. Then the vaporization, that what is the importance of the vapor pressure while designing the hydraulic machinery. This part also I hope it is being covered. And the surface tension, this part is also covered in the basic part of the fluid power. Then the bulk modulus, reciprocal of the basically the surface tension. Then the compressibility, okay, you know that the air is compressible and the water is not compressible. So compressibility factor also it is being covered. Capillarity, I hope that it is being covered, and capillary rise and the capillary depression also you have studied. So my topic from where now today I am starting is basically the buoyancy and flotation. So Bhatkulkar sir, is it visible now? Is it blinking now?
Yes, sir.
Now it is correct? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So the buoyancy and flotation, so I will start with the second topic, that is buoyancy and flotation. So what do we mean by the buoyancy force? Okay, if you take an example over here, and you will find that let us take the any football, volleyball, or the basketball in your hand, and try to dip it or the insert it inside the water. So what will happen? Since the ball is having the air inside it, there will be a upward force on the ball, and downward force you are putting on the ball. If the upward force is more, then naturally this ball will float. If the downward force is more and the upward force is less, in that case, it is nothing but it will sink. So basically, this upward force which is acting on the body, it is nothing but the buoyant force. So when a body is immersed in a fluid, an upward force exerted by the fluid on the body, this upward force is equal to the weight of the fluid displayed by the body and is called as the force of buoyancy. So this is nothing but the buoyancy force, and we will see that what causes the buoyant force. So you can see the two examples which I have shown over here. One ship is being considered here. So naturally, the weight of the ship, it is acting in the downward direction, and the buoyant force, it is acting in the upward direction. So if the buoyant force is more and the weight of the this one it is less, then naturally what will happen? The ship will float. But if you see this object over here, if the weight is more and buoyant force is less, naturally it will sink. It will not float. So basically, the buoyant force is the upward force on an object exerted by the surrounding fluid. So when an object pushes the water,
सर आपकी आवाज अटक रही
hello,
है सर आवाज अटक रही है
hello, आवाज, hello, आवाज येत आहे का?
सर ठीक आहे, काही प्रॉब्लेम नो सर, इट्स ओके, ओके सर, ओके, फाइन.
So, okay, thank you, sir. So when an object pushes water, the water pushes back with as much as force it can. So if the water can push back as hard, the object floats. Okay. If not, it sinks. Okay. So the examples is given, that is a boat is given, and this is the component of the steel. Naturally, it will sink. So this causes the buoyant force. Now let us see the forces acting on the buoyancy. The buoyant force is caused by the difference between the pressure at the top of the object, that is the gravitational force, which pushes it downward, and the pressure at the bottom is nothing but the buoyant force, which pushes it upward. So since the pressure at the bottom is always greater than the top, every object submerged in a fluid feels an upward buoyant force. So buoyant force, naturally it acts in the upward direction, and your weight, it is acting in the downward direction. And these are the forces, because the gravitation, due to the gravitational force and the which pushes it downward, and the buoyant force which pushes it upward. So these are the forces acting on the acting on any body which is kept on into the water or the sea. Now we will see that how to calculate the buoyant force. There can be certain numericals in the in case of the GATE examination, wherein you need to calculate the buoyant force. Now you can see the one picture is I have shown. It is like a dead sea in the sense that there is no movement of the water. Actually, it is practically it is not possible, but pressure waves will be there due to the high tide and the low tide. But we considered it as like a stationary, and this man is sitting onto the sea, okay, and he is floating onto the water. So buoyant force, basically it is nothing but the weight of the displaced fluid. So BF is equal to W air minus W water. What does mean by the W air? That is, buoyant force is nothing but the weight of object in air minus the weight of object in water. For example, okay, a person weighs 250 Newton. This person, those who are there in the sea, he is weighing the 250 Newton while swimming in the Dead Sea. When outside of the water, they weigh 600 Newton. What is the buoyant force acting on them? Okay, will they sink or float? So the decision is to be taken that will they sink or float, that is buoyant force is equal to W air minus W water. So is nothing but 600 minus 250. It is equal to 350 Newton. So person will float because their weight in the water is less than the buoyant force. So likewise, the buoyant force can be calculated in the various application, in case of the ship application also, and we can know that whether it will float or whether it will sink. Then what do things float? So things float if they are less dense than the fluid they are in. Okay, things float if they are weight less than the buoyant force pushing up on them, and the things float if they are shaped so their weight is spread out. So let us see that the example which is being shown over here. So the two examples I have taken here, you can see that this is the boat is there. Now the boat is, even though it is made of the iron, but it is floating into the water, and in the container maybe we have taken this nail. This is also made of the iron, but it is sinking, it is not floating. So in case of the iron nail, which is compact, the weight of the water displaced by it is much less than its own weight, hence it naturally sinks. And in case of the ship, which is hollow from within, the weight of the water displaced by the ship is more than the weight of the ship, hence the ship float. So this is the reason that even though both are made up of the iron, but one object is floating and another object is sinking. So the example which is being taken, that is the displayed water is there, and this is the boat mass 1000 kg, and this is the floating boat. So ballast tanks also, for example, three types are there. That is lowest mass, lowest density, basically it floats. Low mass, low density, it is basically neutral. High mass, high density, naturally it will sink. So the center of buoyancy, the point through which the force of buoyancy is supposed to act, is known as the center of buoyancy. This center of buoyancy, buoyant force, metacentric height, all these concepts you have studied in the second year of mechanical engineering. And when you appear for the GATE examination, you will have to see that all your fundamentals of, even in the second year, it is being covered by you, and you will be able to solve the numerical. Only practice of the numerical cannot help you. You have to go into the details of the each and every fundamental. So therefore, now we will be studying about the metacentric height, stability of the floating bodies, stability of the submerged body. So the center of gravity, center of the buoyancy, here it acts, that is which is called as the point through which the force of buoyancy is supposed to act, is known as the center of buoyancy. So the metacenter, it is defined as the point about which body starts oscillating when the body is tilted by a small angle. You can see that one ship or one object is being taken. This is the metacenter M, denoted by M. Gravity, that is center of gravity G, and the point B is located here, the center of buoyancy. The distance between this M and G, metacenter and the center of gravity, it is basically the metacentric height. So what is metacenter? Metacenter is defined as the point about which a body starts oscillating when the body is tilted by an angle. So why the body is tilted by an angle? Because you know that due to the high tide or due to the low tide, naturally there will be waves in the water, even in the sea water. Okay, so water is not stationary, or water is not stagnant. So in such cases, the ship also, it keeps on tilting. So when the ship keeps on tilting, naturally the metacentric height, center of buoyancy, center of gravity, all these concepts will come into the picture, since it is oscillating, and we have to keep our ship in the stable position under any type of angle of inclination. So therefore, the metacenter is defined as the point about which a body starts oscillating when the body is tilted by a small angle. So it is the point at which the line of action of the force of buoyancy will meet the normal axis of the body when the body is given a small angular displacement. So in this picture, you can see that This is point M, that is metacenter. This is metacentric height, and this is the center of gravity and the center of buoyancy. Now let us see that how the metacentric height it is being calculated, because it is the distance between the metacenter of the floating body and the center of gravity. So there are basically two methods which you have used also. So one thing is nothing but the analytical method. So we can find out with the analytical method by calculating the moment of inertia and by knowing the volume of the submerged body. Okay, so we can calculate it. Similarly, even by the experimental method, the metacentric height can be calculated like GM is equal to W1D divided by W tan theta, where this W is nothing but the weight of the vessel, and G is center of gravity, B is center of buoyancy, W1 is movable weight, and D is distance between the movable weight. This type of experimentation you have carried out in your second year of fluid power subject or the fluid mechanics and machinery practical, wherein you might have determined the metacentric height and the metacenter and the buoyancy force. So this is the experimental method with which we can calculate. Now let us see the conditions of equilibrium of a floating and submerged bodies. So the stability of the submerged bodies, that is there are three conditions. You can see here the condition A is shown, condition B is shown, condition C is shown. Here you can see that, okay, the buoyancy, center of buoyancy, this is G, center of gravity GB, and here what is happening, B and G. Okay, so stability of the submerged body, when a stable, in case of the stable equilibrium, when the FB and the point B is above G, it is nothing but the stable equilibrium. So this is the condition of the stable equilibrium, and this is for the conditions which we are seeing for the submerged body, because these bodies are submerged and these are the free surfaces. Then the neutral equilibrium. So when FB and FB and B and G are at the same point, this condition is nothing but the neutral condition. Similarly, the stability of the floating bodies. So there are again three conditions, that is a stable equilibrium and the unstable equilibrium. So how it is being defined, the conceptually we can see that stable equilibrium means if the point M is above the G. So you can see that the point M, this is the metacenter. Okay, restoring movement is there, but point M, that is metacenter, is above the center of gravity. That is nothing but your stable equilibrium. Okay, and what is the unstable equilibrium? If the point M is below the G. So you can see that this is the overturning movement of the ship is there, and your point B, basically it is coming below the point G. Okay, so in this case, this condition is nothing but the unstable equilibrium. And neutral equilibrium means if the point M and G, they are coinciding and they are at the same point, then it is called as the neutral equilibrium of a floating body. So try to make it a difference between the two. One way I've seen for the equilibrium conditions for the submerged bodies and another for the floating body. So this is the condition of equilibrium of floating and the submerged bodies. Okay, you can see that positive buoyancy, neutral buoyancy, and the negative buoyancy is being defined. Okay, here the negative buoyancy is there. At the bottom you can see that the sinking position is there. So buoyant force is less than the weight, so the object basically it sinks. Okay, neutral buoyancy, that is buoyant force is equal to weight, so the object is suspended in the fluid. And just a minute. And positive force, force, that is the positive buoyancy, that is buoyancy force is greater than weight of the object, so the object float. Okay, so three conditions we have seen, that is positive buoyancy, neutral buoyancy, and the negative buoyancy. Then this is the first topic as far as my lecture is concerned. So let me take a review from all the students before going into the second topic, that is control volume, analysis of mass, momentum, and energy. That what are the topics which we have covered now, okay, in my presentation. So anyone, any student. Any student, there has to be response from the student, otherwise online education system is like a one-way system is there.
Student, please respond. Anybody? You unmute yourself and respond to the question of sir.
So can you
Can you let me know that which topic we have covered right now?
sir, buoyancy force, stability of the body.
System of boys.
There's metacentric height, stability of floating body, buoyancy force.
Good, very good, very good.
Dynamic viscosity in vaporization of both surface tension, bulk modulus,
Very good.
buoyancy force था main buoyancy force and then calculation of buoyancy force.
Responsible. Huh? What is it? Student, I think there is a network issue. Sir got log out. He will again log in. Just wait. Due to network issue, I think sir has log out. He will just log in again. सर बोलता का सरांसोबत
ते स्वतः काहीतरी लॉगिन करायचा प्रयत्न करत असेल त्याच्यात फोन करणं बरं.
हाँ सर
हॅलो.
हाँ सर इश्यू होता
हा हा.
मुलांनी काही सांगितलं
हॅलो.
स्टुडंट अगेन स्टुडंट अगेन
बरं.
अगेन रिपीट स्टुडंट सर हॅज जॉईन
Can you tell me that which topic we have covered?
Sir, main
Buoyancy,
topic was
metacentric height, stability of floating bodies,
नाही झालं sir.
calculation of buoyancy force.
vaporization, surface tension, bulk modulus. These
Very
were
good.
the small topics, I think so. And the buoyancy flotation, buoyancy force, then calculation of buoyancy force. This was the another subtopics.
Good, good. I think again there is a issue with at sir end.
So sir is in the meeting, but the network issue is there.
Right, right, right. Sir is there, but network issue. That's why this problem is. So just wait for 1 minute. I'm again contacting sir. Ah, सर तुम्ही लॉग आउट झाले. हो हो पुन्हा लॉग इन करा. हा ठीक आहे.
हा सर, आवाज येतोय?
हा येतो सर आवाज येतोय.
Sorry, actually, there were some interruption. Okay, because
No problem.
some connectivity problem was there. So,
No,
yeah, yeah. So let me take a review that which topic I have covered till now. Okay. So, can anybody tell? Hello.
Students
Can
again.
anyone student?
Ah,
Can
Sir,
anyone tell me that?
Metacentric height,
the main topic was
buoyancy,
position.
and
One by one.
stability of floating body.
Okay. Very good. Stability of floating bodies, metacenter. Okay, these topics we have covered. Okay, what
Yes.
do you mean by the buoyant force? Hello,
Yes, sir.
hello.
Weight of fluid is fluid.
What do you mean by the buoyant force? Whether it
Buoyant
acts
force
from the upward or downward?
downward.
Buoyant force, it acts in the upward direction or downward
Upward
direction?
direction.
Upward
Upward
force.
direction. Okay, it is a upward force. How the weight of any body it acts, whether it acts in the downward direction or upward direction?
Downward direction. Body.
Downward direction
Direction.
due to the center of the gravity. Okay. So let me go to the now again the presentation on my first topic is over. Okay, and the second topic will be going. So thanks God that interruption also.
Student, again wait. Sir has left out. He will rejoin again.
So again, extremely sorry for the some interruptions are happening. So let me go to the sharing my screen. Okay, and we will go to the second topic. Buoyancy and flotation is over. Am I audible? Can anyone know?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Audible.
Okay, okay. So I will go to the second topic, that is the control volume. Okay. So the second topic in my presentation, basically it is a control volume, analysis of mass and momentum energy. And the picture which you are seeing now onto your screen, it is basically the turbine which is being shown. Okay, so the turbine, Pelton turbine, you can see that, and this turbine is coupled directly to the generator. So what we are going to see in this section of my presentation is basically the mechanical efficiencies, the shaft work, okay, and the conservation of laws. So we are already familiar with the conservation laws, such as the laws of conservation of mass, conservation of energy, and conservation of momentum. And these laws are applied to a fixed quantity of matter, which is called as the closed system, or it is just called as the system, and then extended to the regions in the space, which is called as the control volume. The conservation relations are also called the balance equations, since any conserved quantity must balance during the process. So many fluid flow devices like a Pelton turbine is there, or the hydraulic turbine, are analyzed by applying the conservation of mass energy principle along with the linear momentum equation. So the turbine which you are seeing in the picture, the Pelton turbine, which is being directly connected to the generator, wherein hydraulic energy of the water is getting converted into the mechanical energy or the shaft power due to this turbine, with the rotation of the turbine, and further the mechanical energy is getting converted into the electrical energy. So one form of energy is getting converted into the another form of energy, and in such cases, while analyzing these turbines, we need to apply our conservation laws, okay, momentum equations, and the also the balance equation. So what is the conservation of mass? The conservation of mass relation for a closed system undergoing a change is expressed as MSYS, so which is nothing but the constant. So which is the statement that the mass of the system remains constant during a process. So mass balance for a control volume CV in rate form, that is conservation of mass, is equal, that is M in minus M out, is equal to dm CV divided by dt. What is M in and M out? The total rate of mass flow into and out of the control volume, and dm CV by dt, the rate of change of mass within the control volume boundaries. So this is the conservation of the mass balance equation for a control volume. And continuity equation in fluid mechanics, the conservation of mass relation written for a differential control volume is usually called as the continuity equation. Then the linear momentum equation. So the linear momentum, that is the product of the mass and the velocity of a body, is called as the linear momentum, or just the momentum of the body. The momentum of a rigid body is considered as the mass m moving with the velocity v and mv. So the Newton's second law, what does it states? That the acceleration of a body is proportional to the net force acting on it and inversely proportional to its mass, and that the rate of change of the momentum of a body is equal to the net force acting on the body. Okay, and the conservation of momentum principle also, you have studied linear momentum equation. So in fluid mechanics, basically the Newton's second law is usually referred to as the linear momentum equation. Then the conservation of energy. So the conservation of energy principle, the net energy transfer or to or from a system during the process be equal to the change in the energy content of the system. So conservation of energy is nothing but E in minus E out is equal to dE CV by dt. What is E in and E out? The total rates of energy transfer into and out of the control volume. And D is CV by dt, that is rate of change of energy within the control boundary. So in fluid mechanics, we usually limit our consideration to the mechanical forms of the energy only. So let us see that the mass and the volume flow rate. We have also studied the how to calculate the volume flow rate. That is which is again the called maybe called as the discharge. That is Q is equal to rho A V. When the density remains constant, the rho gets cancelled, and the Q is equal to A into V. That is area into velocity, and its unit is nothing but the meter cube per second. Okay, and the mass flow rate is nothing but the kg per second, which we use in case of the gases. So this is the derivation of the mass flow rate and the volume flow rate. What we need to see here is that viscosity property you have studied already, which I have not covered today. The velocity of the pipe, velocity of the water or velocity of the liquid in the pipe, you can see that this is the velocity profile. Okay, so at this point, at the bottom point, the velocity is being 0, but at the outer surface also velocity is 0, and in the middle of this portion the velocity is maximum. So this velocity is nothing but the maximum velocity, and this kind of velocity profile will be there. So the average velocity is V average is defined as the average speed through the cross section. And why this is happening? This is happening because of the property of the fluid, that is the viscosity, which we have considered, which you have already studied. So the volume flow rate is the volume of fluid flowing through a cross section per unit of time. Then the conservation of mass principle. The conservation of mass principle for a control volume, that is nothing but the net mass transfer to or from a control volume during a time interval delta t is equal to the net change in the total mass within the control volume. So how to calculate it? That is mass in minus mass out is equal to delta mcv is equal to kg. Okay, or rate, in the rate we can see that mass in minus mass out is equal to dmcv divided by dt, that is kg per second. So mass balance is applicable to any control volume undergoing a kind of process. So conservation of mass principle for an ordinary bathtub is being given. What you can see that this is the m in. Okay, 50 kg is the m in. Okay, m out 30 kg is there. So what is the quantity of water which is there in the bathtub is delta m bathtub is equal to m in minus m out is equal to 20 kg. So likewise we can calculate the mass of water inside the bathtub, and in case of filling the tank, overhead tank is there. Suppose for example कि overhead tank है, वो कितने समय में भर जाएगी. Okay, उसका पानी यूजर आउटलेट से शुरू है और इनलेट से भी पानी बोर से या जहां से भी आ रहा है वो भी शुरू है. So in that case we can calculate that what is the mass in, mass flow rate in, what is the mass flow rate out. Accordingly we can calculate what is the time required for filling that tank or filling the bathtub. This is the recent example. Maybe 6 months ago or 1 year ago you have heard that the famous actress of 1990s, okay, that is Sridevi, she died in an accident in Dubai in the bathtub only. Okay, so what is being that example, okay, for calculating that how much time has taken by this Sridevi to go to the sink. Okay, because initially she was floating and then sinking and then again floating action. So we can calculate that what is the time duration. Okay, how we can calculate the time duration? If we know the mass flow rate in, if you know the mass flow rate out from the bathtub, then with all this calculation by conservation of mass principle, we can calculate how much time that bathtub was full and she started sinking instead of floating into the bathtub. So mechanical energy and efficiency. mechanical energy, the form of energy that can be converted to mechanical work completely and directly by an ideal mechanical device such as the ideal turbine. So just now we have discussed that the hydraulic turbines are basically used in case of the hydel power station to convert the hydraulic energy into the mechanical energy. Further, it is connected to the generator which converts the mechanical energy or the shaft power into the electrical energy. So the mechanical energy of a flowing fluid per mass is nothing but the P by rho plus V square by 2 plus Gz. Okay. So what is P by rho? Flow energy. V square by 2 kinetic energy, and Gz is nothing but the potential energy or energy difference due to the datum. And this is nothing but the given by the Bernoulli's equation also, Bernoulli's theorem also, that also we are going to see in our today's lecture. And mechanical energy balance, that is delta E mechanical is equal to P2 minus P1 divided by rho plus V1 square, V2 square minus V2 square, V1 square divided by 2 plus G into Z2 minus Z1 kilojoule per kg. So the mechanical energy of a fluid does not change during the flow if its pressure, density, velocity and elevation remains constant. Okay. So similarly, let us see the shaft work. The transfer of mechanical energy is usually accomplished by a rotating shaft. Thus, mechanical work is often referred to as the shaft work. Okay. So, pump or a fan receives the shaft work, because pump, hydraulic pump or a fan also, it is a work absorbing device. It is not a work developing device, because fan requires electric motor to run it. Okay, pumps requires electric motor or the engine to run it. So these are all power absorbing devices are there. However, the turbine, it converts the mechanical energy into of the fluid into the shaft work. So turbine is nothing but the power producing device. So we can see that the mechanical efficiency is equal to, okay, mechanical energy output divided by the mechanical energy input. So the effectiveness of the conversion process between the mechanical work supplied or extracted and the mechanical energy of the fluid is expressed by the pump efficiency or turbine efficiency. So efficiency of the pump is nothing but the mechanical power increase of the fluid divided by mechanical power input. Okay, and efficiency of turbine is nothing but the mechanical power output, because we are getting a shaft work over there. Okay, once the jet of water is strikes to the buckets of the Pelton turbine, the runner of the turbine starts rotating, and the runner of the turbine is mounted onto the shaft. The shaft also starts rotating. So it's basically it is a mechanical power output, and mechanical power decrease of the fluid is nothing but the input. So taking up one example from the one of the gate examination, some of the values has been modified also. You can see that this fan is there, okay, and this fan is rotating, and the 50 watt power is being provided to the fan. We have considered the 2 points. This is point number 1, this is point number 2, okay, and there is a flow of air, and here the mass flow rate is nothing but the 0.506 kg per second. So mechanical efficiency of a fan is the ratio of kinetic energy of the air at the fan exit to the mechanical output. So V1 at this point 1 is nothing but the 0. V2 is nothing but the at the cross section point 2 is 12.1 meter per second. And you can see that the datum is same. Okay, look, both the points which we have considered for our analysis, they are located at the same time. So Z1 is equal to Z2. So mechanical efficiency of a fan, it can be calculated as mv2 square by 2 divided by W shaft in, and it is coming out to be 0.741 or 74.1%. So likewise it can be calculated. Similarly, second example we will see. So in this example, motor efficiency is nothing but the mechanical power output divided by electrical power output. which is nothing but the motor efficiency. Generator of the efficiency is nothing but electrical power output, mechanical power input, that is nothing but the generator efficiency. And the motor, pump motor overall efficiency is nothing but, okay, efficiency of the pump, efficiency of the motor, multiplication of this, product of this will define the pump motor overall efficiency. Similarly, turbine generator overall efficiency is defined as, okay, efficiency of turbine multiplied by the efficiency of the generator. This example, small example, is been taken over here. That is, turbine is there. The efficiency of this turbine is 0.75. Efficiency of this is turbine is directly coupled to the generator. Efficiency of generator is 0.97. So calculate the efficiency of turbine generator overall efficiency. Naturally, it is a product of these two efficiencies, which is coming out to be the 73%. So this is the second topic which I have covered today. So before going into the next topic, let me take a review that what we have studied, okay, so that we can proceed further, and then we will start with our next topic. Okay, so any student, those who are attending the class, that which topic we have covered in the second part of the presentation. Can anybody tell me that what we have studied? Hello? Anyone student can unmute and tell me that Pratik is there? Pratik? Pratik, yes, Pratik is online. Pratik Gulande. Pratik, can you tell me, are you listening to me, that which topic we have covered now in the second part of the presentation?
Sir, nanometer and precision devices.
Hello? Pratik?
Yes,
Yes. Which
Sir,
topic we have covered?
manometer and pressure measuring devices.
No, manometer I have not covered. Where are you, Pratik? Manometer I have not covered. Not measuring devices I have covered. Are you listening to me? In the second part of the presentation, I am talking manometer, manometric fluid, okay, manometer application. This I have not covered today. Which topic I have covered now? Are you listening to me? Are you with me? This is the online education system. Okay, it has to be made effectively by the teachers and the student. Otherwise, all my efforts, all your efforts, all efforts of the Professor Amit Tajne, Dr. Barjatya, and Dr. Bhatkulkar, it is going to be a waste if you do not listen it carefully, if you do not attend the classes seriously. They have taken a great initiative for all you people, for the benefit of all the students. Can anyone tell me that which topic we have covered now? Anyone?
Conservation of mass, conservation of energy, linear management.
Athang Bagde is there. Athang is online.
And
Athang.
efficiency of
Which topic we have covered, Athang? Athang?
Conservation of mass, conservation of
Okay,
energy.
okay, very good, Athang, very good, very good. So you are alert and you are listening. Okay, thank you very much. Next one, which example I have quoted? Example of famous actress who has died in the bathtub, which I have quoted during my presentation, during the conservation of calculating the conservation of mass. Can anyone tell me that which example I have quoted?
Sridevi?
Sridevi at the tub.
Sridevi, yes, Devesh Ninave, very good. Okay, so thank you very much, Devesh. Let me go to the third part of my presentation. Okay. So So भातकुलकर सर विजिबल आहे ना?
Yes, sir, visible.
आवाज पण येत आहे. Okay. So in the third part of my presentation, that I will be taking up few previous GATE examination, so that you will come to know that what kind of questions are being asked in the examination, how to answer it, and let me clear to you that tukka marke you cannot score in the GATE examination. If you feel that MCQ are there and tukka marke hum log score karenge, pass ho jayenge, it is not possible, beta. So you need to concentrate on your each and every subject thoroughly, and the great concentration is required. You should study it. At the same time, you should practice some numericals also. So the first question which I am taking up, static fluid can have, okay, non-zero normal shear, normal and shear stress. Okay, so answer is positive normal stress and zero shear stress. So this is from the GATE 2001 examination. This topic I have not covered in case of the static fluid today, but some of your teacher has covered this topic in your college. So this is what Amit has briefed me. So therefore, these questions are there. For a non-Newtonian fluid, okay, for a non-Newtonian fluid, the shear stress is proportional to the shear strain. You know that the fluid, Newtonian fluid, is the fluid which obeys the law of Newton's law of viscosity. Okay, for example, water, kerosene are examples of the Newtonian fluid. Similarly, the fluid which does not obey the Newton's law of viscosity is called as the non-Newtonian fluid. So non-Newtonian fluid are nothing but, okay, the paint are there, brush are there, paint is there. This is nothing but toothpaste is there. These are the non-Newtonian fluid. So in the Newtonian fluid, the Newton's law of viscosity, the shear stress is proportional to the shear strain. So this is what GATE 2006 examination question is there. Then let us go to the third question, that in the GATE 2001, SI unit of kinematic viscosity, okay, that is meter square per second. So this is the correct answer. We have seen that while brushing up your knowledge, kinematic viscosity and dynamic viscosity and its units also. So this was the question on the kinematic viscosity. Similarly, dimensions of the surface tension. Then dimensions of the surface tension, question number 5. Then this is the what you have been asked to calculate, that is kinematic viscosity of air is given at the 20 degrees centigrade is given to be 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 5 meter square per second. Is kinematic viscosity at 70 degrees centigrade will be varying approximately. So you need to calculate. Okay. So by applying the formula, it is coming out to be V2 is equal to 2.02 into 10 to the power of minus 5 meter per second. So don't think that it is for 1 mark, which means that you have to just stick at any of the option. Try to see that you apply the correct formula, you calculate it, and accordingly you choose your option. Similarly, this is the point, this is the question, basically GATE 2016 question, which we have covered in the first part of the presentation. That is, for a floating body, the buoyant force act at which point? Okay, centroid of the floating body, center of gravity of the floating body, centroid of the fluid vertically below the body, centroid of the displayed body. So basically option D is correct, that is centroid of the displayed fluid. Okay, for a completely submerged body with the center of gravity G and center of buoyancy B, the condition of stability will be, this was the question in the GATE 2014. So we have already studied that the point G is located below B, okay, for a submerged body, that is the center of buoyancy and the condition of stability. So we have studied stability, neutral and unstable condition. Then question number 9, okay, for the stability of floating body under the influence of gravity alone, which of the following statement is true? For example, this question was asked in the GATE 2010 examination, that is meta center should be below the center of gravity, meta center should be above the center of gravity. So answer B is correct. Metacenter should be above the center of gravity. So under the influence of gravity alone, stability conditions हमने जो पढ़ी है उसमें से आपको correct answer choose करना है. For a certain two-dimensional incompressible flow velocity field is given by, this is 2xi, 2y2j, 2xyi minus y2j, and the streamline. This answer, your correct answer, you have to tick. So this topic I have not covered today, but your teacher has covered the path lines and the streamlines in the first lecture. So this is what basically the in the two parts of the my presentation. So we have studied today the buoyancy and flotation, okay, and the conservation of mass, conservation principle, and continuity equation. So with this, I end my first part of the presentation, and let me start the second part of my presentation. Bhatkulkar sir,
हाँ सर, हाँ हाँ,
so shall I continue with the second part?
yes sir, yes sir.
Okay. So now two topics we have covered in my presentation today, and this is my third part of the presentation which we will take, and the today now the third and fourth part that I will be focusing on the Bernoulli's theorem and dimension analysis. I don't know whether I will be able to cover both the parts today, but surely I think the time is there, and I will continue with my presentation. Whenever the time is over, Bhatkulkar sir can just ping me so that I can. Okay.
Right sir.
So
Right,
yeah. So let us go to the Bernoulli's equation. So contents of my today's presentation, the third part of the presentation is energy of a liquid in motion, Bernoulli's theorem, then applications of Bernoulli's equation, Venturimeter, orifice-meter, pitot tube, and the dimensional analysis. In the dimensional analysis, I will be touching up with the Rayleigh method, Buckingham Pi theorem, and then finally I will be taking up some previous GATE examination questions and how to attempt it and how to. So energy of a liquid in motion, that is the energy in general, may be defined as the capacity to do the work. So though the energy exists in many forms, at the following are important from the subject point of view. Basically the potential energy, okay, the kinetic energy, and the pressure energy. So there are three parts of the energy, energy of a liquid in motion, that is potential energy, kinetic energy, and the pressure energy. For example, okay, the overhead tank is there, and in that overhead tank the water is stored, but at the user outlet the water is not flowing, okay, and the liquid is not in motion. So the kind of energy which is possessed by the water in the overhead tank is nothing but the potential energy. Okay, it is the potential energy because it is under the stationary condition, and when you open the tap and when the water starts flowing, then the kinetic energy and the pressure energy also both are coming into the picture. So the energy possessed by a liquid or energy possessed by the water in the lake is nothing but the potential energy. Okay, potential energy is there. So there are three parts. So potential energy of a liquid particle in motion, it is the energy possessed by a liquid particle by virtue of its position. If a liquid particle is z meter above the horizontal datum, okay, the potential energy of the particle will be z meter kilogram. Okay, briefly written as mkg per kg of the liquid. So potential head of the liquid at that point will be z meters of the liquid. So we have seen that, we have taken the example of the potential energy also. Now the kinetic energy of a liquid particle in motion, it is the energy possessed by a liquid particle by virtue of its motion or velocity. If a liquid particle is flowing with a mean velocity of v per second, then the kinetic energy of the particle will be v square by 2g mkg, that is per kg of liquid. And velocity head at that liquid, at that velocity, it will be v square by 2g. So kinetic energy is nothing but the v square by 2g, and when the water or when the liquid particle is in motion, then the kinetic energy will be there. For example, you have studied you have seen the fire brigade. At the in the fire brigade, at the end of the hose, there is a nozzle which is being placed. So what is the function of the nozzle? Which convert the pressure energy into the kinetic energy. And a velocity or the kinetic energy at the inlet, nozzle ke inlet mein, which is lesser than the outlet. Outlet mein what is being happening? Due to the reduction in the area of the nozzle, okay, your pressure energy, it is getting converted into the kinetic energy, and the jet of water, it is being formed. So similarly, the kinetic energy can be calculated. Similarly, the pressure energy of a fluid particle in motion, it is the energy possessed by a liquid particle by virtue of its existing pressure. If a liquid particle is under pressure of P kilonewton per meter square, that is kPa, then the pressure energy of the particle will be P by rho g mkg per kg of the liquid. When W is the specific weight of the liquid, pressure head on the liquid under that pressure will be P by rho g of the liquid. So what is the total energy of a liquid? Now here the Bernoulli's equation or the Bernoulli's theorem will come into the picture. That is total energy of a liquid in motion. It is the sum of its potential energy, kinetic energy, and the pressure energy. So mathematically it can be written as E is equal to Z plus V square by 2G plus P by W. So this is the total energy. P by W is the pressure energy component, V square by 2G is the kinetic energy component, Z is nothing but the potential energy component which is coming to the picture, and the summation of all these three is nothing but the total energy. So the total head of a liquid particle in motion, total head of a liquid particle in motion is the sum of its potential head, kinetic head, and pressure head. So mathematically it is written as H is equal to Z plus V square by 2G plus P by W. That is nothing but the total head. Then we will see the Bernoulli's equation. So the Bernoulli's equation, this equation was developed by that is Daniel Bernoulli's in 1978, and what he has proposed is that for a perfect incompressible fluid, liquid flowing in a continuous stream, the total energy of a particle remains the same while the particle moves from one point to the another. So this statement is based on the assumption that there are no losses due to friction in the pipe mathematically. So which means that the what it says that you can see that there is a variation in the geometry. In this picture you can see there is a variation in the geometry, and this point is nothing but the Z1 which is taken at the center of the cross section. This point is Z2. This point is Z2. Okay, this is the velocity at cross section 1. This is the velocity at cross section 2. So the total energy, that is Z plus V square by 2G plus P by W is equal to constant. So Z is nothing but potential energy, V square by 2G is kinetic energy, P by W is nothing but the pressure energy. So under this assumption, Bernoulli's theorem or Bernoulli's equation proposed in 1738 long back, it suggests that the total energy of the fluid remains constant. Okay, under this assumption, what are the assumptions made? The assumptions are no work or heat interaction between a fluid element and the surrounding takes place. This is one assumption. Okay, the flow must be incompressible and the friction by viscous forces has to be negligible. This is what the Bernoulli's equation suggests. So the Bernoulli's equation component, that is flow work per unit mass, kinetic energy, potential energy, and it is going to be a constant. So we can say that P1 by rho g plus V2, V1 square by 2g plus Z1 is equal to P2 by rho g, V2 square by 2g plus Z2. This is what the Bernoulli's theorem says. Okay, now in the same example, in the same case, by taking the two cross section 1, cross section 2, you can see that P1 by rho g plus V1 square by 2g plus Z1 is equal to P2 by rho g plus V2 square by 2g plus Z2 plus HF. Okay, HF is nothing but loss of head due to friction. So we have assumed the direction of flow also from left side to the right side. Okay, if it is from left side to the right side, naturally it is being added onto the right side, that is P2 by rho g plus V2 square by 2g plus Z2 plus HF. अगर ये उल्टा होता था, मतलब this liquid would have flown from higher side to the lower side, तो in that case यही equation में, यही condition में, this HF, loss of head due to friction, it would have been added here on the left hand side of the equation, that is P1 by rho g plus V1 square by 2g plus Z1 plus HF. So this basically concept is also useful for finding out as a device whether it is a turbine or pump. Okay, for example एक कोट करता हूँ आपको कि दो ओवरहेड टैंक है, okay, और दोनों अलग अलग लेवल पे है, एक 100 मीटर पे है, एक 50 मीटर पे है, और दोनों को टैंक को कनेक्टेड करते हुए पाइपलाइन से लाते हुए बीच में एक डिवाइस लगाया गया है. अब हमें आइडेंटिफाई करना है, क्योंकि सारे वैल्यूज दिए कि ये डिवाइस पंप है कि टरबाइन है, एंड द डिफरेंस इन द मैनोमीटर इन द प्रेशर द recorded it is also being given. So in this equation, by applying the Bernoulli's theorem, by assuming the direction of the flow, okay, we can calculate whether that device is pump or turbine. For example, हमने lower टैंक से हायर टैंक की तरफ डायरेक्शन एज्यूम की, ओके, और हमने कैलकुलेट किया कि एचएफ जो है वो एचएफ हमारा निगेटिव आ रहा है, लॉस ऑफ हेड ड्यू टू फ्रिक्शन. इसका मतलब एज्यूम डायरेक्शन इज रॉन्ग. एचएफ अगर कैलकुलेट किया तो निगेटिव आ गया, तो एज्यूम डायरेक्शन इज रॉन्ग, which means that there is a flow of water from the higher level tank to the lower level tank. So in which case there is a flow of water from the higher level tank to the lower level tank. It is only in case of the turbine. Turbine में डैम में पानी higher head पे available है, we take it to the lower head. और turbine में when it is utilized, pump की मतलब energy is utilized, hydraulic energy is getting converted into the mechanical power or mechanical energy, then the water is transferred, okay, toward the downstream side. So this is happening in case of the turbine. And in case of the pump, pump is basically used for elevate or to transfer the water or to move the water or to lift the water from the lower head to the higher head. मतलब हमारे घर में बोर में पंप है, तो हम ग्राउंड लेवल से लेके उसको ऊपर के टैंक में लेके जाना चाहते हैं, ठीक है, या हमारे पास में एलएमसी का पानी आ रहा है. So in that case also we need to move the water, we need to lift the water from lower head to the higher head. So pump basically works between the lower head to the higher head. Movement is there from the lower head to the higher head, and the turbine works from the higher head to the lower head. So this conceptual difference you need to understand, and by applying the Bernoulli's equation and the Bernoulli's theorem, you can calculate the direction of flow and also decide okay, whether that device is turbine or pump. Similarly, now we will see the three examples of the basically the applications of the Bernoulli's theorem. First one is nothing but the orifice plate. Okay, here you can see that orifice plate, venturimeter, okay, or the pitot tube. These are the flow measuring devices. Okay, flow measurement devices. In this case, orifice plate, what you can see that the small area is there, small hole is there, and this orifice plate is being placed inside this pipe. So what will happen? The fluid will suddenly contract. Okay, fluid will suddenly contract. Due to that, pressure difference is created, and this pressure difference is recorded with the help of the manometer, which is being used in case of the orifice meter. And then further we convert it into the flow rate, means we calculate the volume flow rate of a liquid, मतलब discharge हम calculate करते हैं by placing the orifice meter. So this is the orifice meter which is used in the practical applications in the industry. Similarly, the venturimeter is there. So in the venturimeter, what you can see that the converging section is there, throat section is there, and then the diverging section is there. Okay, so there are three parts of the venturimeter. That is this is nothing but the diverging section, this is throat section, and this is your converging section. So venturimeter is a device used for the measurement of flow in a pipeline. Based on the principle of Bernoulli's theorem, it consists of the three parts, that is converging cone, short cylindrical throat, and a diverging cone. So what you can see that the length of the diverging cone is more than that of the length of the converging cone. There is a certain reason is there. Here the fluid in the converging cone, what is being happening? The fluid is being acylated. मतलब क्या हो रहा है? Okay, due to the nozzle shape or due to the converging nozzle, here the area of a pipe is reducing. So the pressure energy gets converted into the velocity energy. And in this case, the retardation is taking place where there can be certain loss of pressure energy or eddy formation is there. So therefore, longer length is kept so that energy loss of the fluid, it is to be at the minimum level. Eddy formation, okay, and loss of energy, it should be minimum. Therefore, the length of the diverging cone is kept more than that of the length of the converging cone, since the fluid is being retarded in this section of the venturimeter. And these are the manometric openings which is being connected to the throat and the inlet section to measure the pressure difference with the help of the manometric fluid, maybe mercury we are using, or some other manometric fluid also we are using. So accordingly, by measuring the pressure difference, we can calculate the flow rate. Flow rate means discharge. We can calculate what is the flow of water through the pipeline. So this is the venturimeter. You can see that the function of the converging cone is to accelerate the flow and create a pressure difference between the liquid to converging cone and the throat. Angle of diverging cone is 14 degree to 20 degree. Normal angle 14 degree to 20 degree. Okay. Venturimeter, small cylindrical throat is there. So the function of the throat is to stabilize the flow and facilitate the provision of pressure tapping. So diameter ratio D by D 0.47 to 0.7 normal ratio. Capital D is diameter of pipeline, small d is diameter of throat. This is the diverging cone of a venturimeter. The function of diverging cone is to reduce the velocity and increase the pressure to its original value to the extent it is possible, practical. Angle of diverging cone is from 5 degree to the 7 degree. You see the difference in the angle. Here in this case, length is more, so angle is less. Length is less, angle is more. Okay, here the fluid retardation which is taking place, here the fluid acceleration which is being taking place. This angle is kept as low as possible, 5 degree to 7 degree, so that okay, there should be minimum energy losses in the diverging cone of a venturimeter. So this is the example of the venturimeter which is being taken. That is inclined venturimeter is there. It is kept in the inclined position. You can see the pressure difference which is being created. Okay, so this figure particularly it shows that the venturimeter is inserted in an inclined pipe. ये inclined pipe में connect किया गया है in a vertical plane to measure the flow rate through the pipe. Let us consider the steady, ideal, and one-dimensional axis of the venturimeter flow of fluid. Let the velocity and the pressure at inlet section 1. Okay, this is point 1 we have considered. Okay, V1 and P1, and while those at section 2, V2 and P2. Okay, then apply the Bernoulli's equation. What the Bernoulli's equation says, P1 by rho g plus V1 square by 2g plus Z1 is equal to V2 by rho g plus P2 by rho g plus V2 square by 2g plus Z2. So taking this velocity term on this side and pressure term on this side. Okay, if rho is the density of the fluid flowing through the venturimeter, from continuity equation, rho 1 A1 V1 is equal to rho 2 E2 V2, rho 1, rho 2 are constant. So rho 1 is equal to rho 2, it is getting cancelled. And finally, we get this V2 A2 is equal to V1 A1 from a continuity equation. Putting this one in the equation, finally, we can get the velocity V2 at this point, okay, of a venturimeter, which is placed in the throat section, is equal to 1 by square root of 1 minus A2 square divided by A1 multiplied by 2G H1 minus H2. H1 minus H2 are nothing but the manometric readings which we have recorded. Okay, so finally applying the Bernoulli's equation, we can find out the volume flow rate through the pipe, which is given by Q is equal to A2 V2 is equal to this equation will be there. So this is the equation of discharge of flow through the venturimeter. So actual discharge can be calculated by multiplying the theoretical discharge with coefficient of discharge. So value of the coefficient of discharge for venturimeter, it varies from 0.91 to 0.9, and it depends upon the condition of flow and losses. So basically, in case of orifice meter, it is less. In case of venturimeter, you can see that the CD, that is coefficient of discharge, is more. So accuracy will be more compared with the orifice plate. So merits and demerits of the venturimeter: recovery of pressure is near original value, loss of energy is minimum, and the demerits are its cost is high, occupies more space than orifice meter, and the applications are calculating flow rate of fluid in a tube, setting the flow gasoline in the ignition system of a motor vehicle. In the field of medicine, has to be designed. Venturimeter is to be used to measure the rate of blood flow in the arteries. So there are several applications of the venturimeter as a flow measuring device. Let us come to the next topic of the application, that is the orifice meter. So this circular plate is being placed inside the water, okay, which is having the here the small hole. Due to this, what will happen? There is a sudden contraction of the flow of fluid. Okay, due to this, there is a conversion of the pressure energy into the velocity energy, and this pressure difference, it can be recorded into the manometer, which is connected to the 2 points of the orifice meter. So the advantage is that it can be installed in pipeline with a minimum trouble and the expenses compared with the venturimeter. So working of the venturimeter, orifice meter, that is orifice meter is a device to determine the rate of flow of water or the liquid through the pipe. It consists of flat circular plate which has a sharp edge circular hole called as orifice. It is a fixed concentric to pipe. The orifice diameter is generally kept half of the diameter of the pipe. It is based on the same principle as explained in venturimeter. The value of CD varies from 0.6 to 0.65. It is economical and less space is required for fitting. Now you compare the value of coefficient of discharge. वहाँ कितना था 0.9 to 0.995. यहाँ कितना है 0.6 to 0.65, which means that orifice meter is less accurate compared with the venturimeter. Okay, So difference between an orifice meter and a venturi meter, that is for a venturi tube, there is no contraction in area of the jet is always equal to the area of the throat. Okay. While for the orifice, it is much more affected by the variations in CC. So CD is equal to CV into, in bracket, CC is equal to 1. Then the third application which I would like to cover, and then I will stop with this today's presentation. Next time we will go with the fourth topic. So the third application is nothing but the pitot tube. Okay, this is the pitot tube, which you can see that, which is a it is a simple device used for measuring the velocity of a fluid at the required point in a pipe. Now try to understand that this is not a flow measuring device. Pitot tube is used for the measuring the velocity of the fluid in a pipe. Okay, so it is like a simple tube which is being inserted on the front end of the tube. Converging section will be there, due to which the stagnation point, okay, or the stagnation point will be there, and due to that the pressure difference will be there, which is being recorded with the help of the manometer. So the basic pitot tube consists of a tube pointing directly into the fluid. As tube contains fluid, a pressure can be measured. The moving fluid is brought to rest as there is no outlet to allow to flow to continue. This pressure is the stagnation pressure of the fluid, also known as the total pressure on the pitot tube. So measured stagnation pressure cannot itself be used to determine the fluid flow velocity. Therefore, okay, stagnation pressure is equal to static pressure plus dynamic pressure. So pitot tube is used for measuring the velocity of the fluid. Orifice meter and the venturi meter are used to measure the flow rate of the liquid, okay, to calculate the discharge, and the derivation and equation. All these things we have covered. So today, in the today's presentation, we have covered in the third part the Bernoulli's equation, okay, and its application to the venturi meter, orifice meter, and the pitot tube. So let me again go to the so the students, those who are listening to me, okay, now we will take a brief of the topic, okay, which we have covered today. So can you tell me that which topic we have covered now in the third part of my presentation? Can anybody answer? Devesh, Chirag? Devesh, can you answer?
What's it?
Okay, Chirag, are you listening to me? Chirag? Chirag, are you listening to me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, can you let me know which topic I have covered now in the third part of my presentation?
Sir, we covered about venturi meter,
Huh?
about pitot tube,
Huh?
and
About orifice meter. Okay.
about orifice.
And also we have covered the Bernoulli's theorem and applications of the Bernoulli's theorem. The topic which is remaining is dimensional analysis, okay, flow through pipe. All these topics are remaining, which can be covered in the next class. Can anybody tell, can Rohit tell me that what is the normal CD, coefficient of discharge value of a venturi meter and also the orifice meter? Rohit Nagraj, Rohit, can you tell me? Rohit, Nikhil, Apurva Aglave, can you tell me that what is the Apurva? Are you listening to me? Are you with me? Apurva, Bhushan Tapre, anybody? Mahesh Musre, are you with me? Can anybody tell me? Prajwal Mandavgade, Nikhil Shende, anyone. Kaushal,
Among student reply to sir. Student.
Kaushal Tripathi. Can anybody tell me you have to be serious while attending the online classes, and you should concentrate on your studies? Otherwise, you will be wasting your career and you will be wasting your time also. Okay, so therefore see that you are attending it very regularly. Okay, so can anybody tell me what is the value of CD, coefficient of discharge in orifice meter, and coefficient of discharge in case of the venturimeter? So nobody is able to answer. Bhimsen Bagele, yes, very good Bhimsen. Okay, very good. Venturimeter 0.9 to 0.95. Okay, very good. Charudatta Chauhan, very good. Okay, you are responding through the chat box, very good. Similarly, can you tell me that what is the normal value of the venturimeter, normal value of the coefficient of discharge in case of the orifice meter? 0.6, very good. Charudatta, very good. Okay, you have given the correct answer. Okay, so now the next question is that, okay, which flow measuring device is better, venturimeter or orifice meter? When we compare with each other, which device is better, venturimeter or orifice meter? Which device is better? Can anybody answer? Venturimeter, very good, Chira, very good. So you got my point. Okay, and what do you mean by the coefficient of discharge? What do you mean by the CD? What do you mean by the coefficient of discharge? Yes, Premdas Tagade, very good answer. Okay, now the next question is that, what do you mean by the coefficient of discharge, CD of a venturimeter or CD, simply CD? CD मतलब क्या होता है? What do you mean by the CD? Can anybody answer? You can unmute yourself, those one. Ratio between the actual discharge and theoretical discharge. Charudatta Chauhan, very good. Okay, so actual discharge divided by theoretical discharge is nothing but the CD of a venturimeter. Okay, or CD of a orifice meter. Now this is the logical questions to you, that the what is the suppose overhead tank is there. आपके घर की टैंक पकड़ लेते हैं. Overhead tank is there. In that overhead tank there is 100 liters of water. 100 लीटर पानी वहां पे है आपके ओवरहेड टैंक में. ठीक है, अब आपने पाइपलाइन में नीचे वेंचुरीमीटर लगा दिया, जिसका कोएफिशिएंट ऑफ डिस्चार्ज जो है वो 0.9 है, और आपने टैप ओपन किया. तो टैप ओपन करने के बाद में आपको कितने लीटर पानी मिलेगा? How much liter pani you will get? Yes, can anybody tell me? 90 liter. Chirag, this is not a correct answer. So 10 लीटर पानी कहां पे गया है चिराग? Where it has gone? Bhimsen Bagele, very good Bhimsen. 100 liters of water we will get. Okay, चिराग 10 लीटर पानी कहां गया? वेंचुरीमीटर लगाने से ओके 10 लीटर पानी गायब नहीं हो जाता है ना. ओके, जैसे कि 1995 में देयर वाज अ न्यूज which is based on that कि Lord Ganpati during the Ganesh Sthapana in Maharashtra, it is drinking the water, drinking the milk. गणेश जी दूध पी रहे हैं, ऐसा एक आया था। ओके, 1995 के आसपास देयर वाज अ न्यूज। ओके, यू मे नॉट हैव बोर्न दैट टाइम। यू ट्राई टू आस्क योर पेरेंट्स। ओके, आपके पेरेंट्स को पूछिए कि ऐसा कुछ हुआ था क्या कि गणपति जी दूध पी रहे करके। पूरे कंट्री में दूध पीने लगे गणपति जी। एंड फाइनली इट इज बीइंग फाउंड दैट this is basically the action of the fluid in capillarity and surface tension. And that time I think the IIT professors from the IIT Powai and the IIT Delhi, they have commented and they have given the reason. This is the normal tendency of the fluid to get it absorbed due to the surface tension and due to the capillary. Okay, and finally गणपति, लॉर्ड गणपति is not drinking the water, वो हर्षाली पिएंगे. This is the phenomena of the fluid. So what we need to understand is that the basic concept. क्योंकि आप घर में अपने पेरेंट्स की ये क्लास होने के बाद पूछ के देखिए कि गणपति जी 1995 में ऐसी कुछ न्यूज आई थी क्या कि गणपति जी दूध पी रहे करके. And then finally it is being explained by the IIT professor that it is a fluid phenomena. Similarly, Chirag, you have answered as a 90 liter. So my question is where this 10 liter has gone? ये 10 लीटर पानी कहाँ पे गया? So try to understand that we will collect. Okay, Bhimsen ने correct answer दिया कि we will get 100 liters of water because tank contains 100 liters of water. Even though we place a venturimeter, okay, venturimeter का जो CD है, it is related with the rate of flow of water, that is meter cube per second. We may require the more time to fill up the water to get the water at the user end. लेकिन क्वांटिटी उतनी ही मिलेगी, क्वांटिटी 100 लीटर मिलेगी, लेकिन थोड़ा समय ज्यादा लगेगा. ओके, वेंचुरीमीटर लगाया है इसलिए. So venturimeter is a device to determine the rate of flow of water, rate of flow of liquid in a pipeline. It is not a device to consume the water. पानी नहीं पीता है वो वेंचुरीमीटर. So therefore you will get the 100 liters of water. So I hope that I have covered the 3 topics today as per the expectation of Professor Amit Tajne, head of the Mechanical Engineering Department, Dr. Bhatkulkar, and the Dr. Sanjay Barjatya, Honorable Principal of the SBJN College of Engineering. And I have tried to justify the 3 topics. There are again 3 more topics which is being remaining in the fluid power, which can be taken up in the next class. And we will try to give the justice to all these 3 topics, including the dimensional analysis, Buckingham theorem, Rayleigh method, and the flow through pipe. So thanks for the patience listening. Once again, congratulations to all of you. I hope that all those students, those who have joined for the classes, they have applied for the GATE examination, which is being happening in the online mode in the month of February. And the openings, the form openings is being started. Thank you very much. Over to Dr. Vivek Harish Bhatkulkar.
Sir, thank you very much, sir. Today's session was very informative. Covered all the topics of the subject in short duration of time, like buoyant force, control volume, energy in fluid, dimension, and sample gate questions. Right? So it will definitely add great value in understanding the concept of subject that will help students to excel in university exam as well as various competitive exam. So on behalf of Department of Mechanical Engineering, I express my sincere thanks to Dr. G.K. Awari for sparing his valuable time and delivering his knowledge with the students. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All the students for being here and having interactive session with you, sir. Thank you very much, and I declare that this session is over.
Thank you,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.